Right then, it's the one and only happy hour. Happy Friday everyone, I hope everyone's doing well. The cocktail of choice this week is a special from the Davies, and it is going to be a Moscow Mule. And just to cover a little bit on the core ingredient with this is of course ginger beer, but there's a little bit of a confusion with what a ginger beer and what a ginger ale is. It's all down to the American prohibition. Yeast is added to extracted ginger, and that gives you that slightly alcoholic fermentation, which gives you the ginger beer. Now, there's several different ways you can do this, but first of all, let's cover the glass. Now, first of all, it recommends to either have a Collins glass, which is not a highball glass, but something of a substantial width. Official cup that they use, which is known as a Mule cup, it's copper and it has a handle. And I can show you an example of this, like this. That kind of a mug there. And that's kind of like how you have, it's a signature Mule cup, that. I've done a bit of research on all this, and there's many different variations of the Moscow Mule. And it all just depends on twists of different things, whether it be the base spirit or whether it be a side flavour. And I can just give you some examples here. You've got the Bohemian Mule, which is with absinthe, a Dead Man's Mule, which is with cinnamon and schnapps, a French Mule, which is with cognac, a Jamaican Mule, which is with spiced rum, a Mexican Mule with tequila, a New Orleans Mule, which is with bourbon, a prickly pear, a raspberry mule, a southern mule, a Tennessee mule, a Tuscan mule, and it goes on. So there's many different ways you can have this, but of course the Moscow Mule is with vodka, and that's because it's a Russian inspired cocktail. I don't think it was originally created in Russia, but it was obviously created in this century. So the ingredients we're going to use here is, we're going to use some vodka. Now we're going to use, it asks for sugar syrup. Now you can have just normal sugar syrup. I've got some agave nectar here, but what I think is going to go well with this is local honey. I'm going to use a spoon of that, and I think this goes well with the ginger, so we're going to use that. So that's going to be our sugar syrup, and then we're going to have the lime, which I'm going to have a slice off, and then we're going to squeeze some of that. And then what's the one core thing missing? It is, of course, the ginger. Now, there's different things you can do with the ginger. We could either use, dead easy this, we can either have a pre-made ginger beer, or you could actually use ginger wine. Or you can actually have some pre-made stuff. Now, this is from Sainsbury's, and this is actually a ginger mule. I got this from the staff shop, it was quite cheap. But just be careful with spin-offs like this, because it isn't the authentic ingredients. And a lot of the time, when you go to the shops and you buy specific fruit drinks, you'll find that the bulk of that, the main component of that is usually apples, because apples are very cheap. And in this case, that is so. It's the second highest ingredient on here after water is apple juice, then sugar, then ginger puree, which is 4%, and then lime juice, 3.5%. That's an expensive ingredient, and then it has extracts and flavourings. So that's the option for the mocktail. But with the actual cocktail itself, what I've actually done here is I've actually made our own tincture with ginger. So what I've done is I pureed the ginger a couple of weeks ago, and I've actually steeped that in vodka. I've cleared away all the unnecessary ingredients just with a bit of an introduction on the Moscow Mule. Now we're going to make it. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to put the 2/3 of the glass with big eyes and lay this into the glass like so, and that pretty much, that is an indication for how much you really want to put in. I've got a couple of I've got 3 recipe books here. I've got the Difford's book, which is really good. That's generally how that recipe there. And I've also got the Bible here, which is probably one of the better ones. But I think some of these cocktail books actually overcomplicate cocktails. And there's an actual ingredient I disagree of having in this, and that's the Angstura Bitters. One book says put 1 drop in, one puts 3. I don't think it's necessary. So let's just stick to these ingredients. Now the one ingredients that is actually to question, and several books seem to make up their own version of this. It's not essential to have lime, but I think lime is quite an important. And apparently it says a spirit plus ginger beer is called a mule. If you add a squeeze of lime, it's called a buck. Now there are within the cocktail Bible I've got here from Differs, which is usually a really good reference book. There is actually a book in here, and that is generally ginger ale, and it has a squeeze of lemon juice, and then you can choose your spirit with that, whether it be gin or vodka or whatever else. Yeah, so there's many different variations. I'm going to make it with lime juice. I think lime is a really nice ingredient. It brings that sourness and the balance of the sweetness, and it complements ginger really well. I'm going to do this cocktail how I've always done it, and I hope you enjoy it. So first of all, I'm just going to get a spoon of the local honey. Just try and get the clear stuff at the top. Only need 1 spoonful. You can put a wedge in it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slice, and we're going to juice the rest of the lime juice. Perfect. I'm also going to make sure we're going to sieve this. I'm going to pour this into the honey, making sure we sieve that. And very important, make sure that the honey is dissolved. And then we're going to add 2 shots of the infused vodka. See there, all the ginger bits. We've got the glass ready now, so we're just going to pour this into here. The best way to do this is do it into 2 parts. To have as a kind of like a topping, if you want to have some crushed ice. So I'm just going to get some ice into a tea towel, and I'm going to go and smash this on the wall outside. So I've just crushed the ice, and what we're going to do is we're just going to steep that on top. You don't have to do this, but I think it just gives it a really classy kind of like look over the top. And then finally, we want to give this, you can put a slice of anything on the side, a slice of lime or a sprig of mint, but we're actually going to put a sliver of the ginger, which I think is really apt. So there you have the Moscow Mule. A big toast to Davies, to Uncle Ed and family. Hope you enjoy this, and don't forget to subscribe.